Now, on to a new job. And the new job is to just get this all power washed out and cleaned out, because our first calves will be here in a few days' time. So it's time to get this done. I don't feel the best today, I'll be totally honest, I probably don't look it. I haven't got COVID as of yet. There is COVID in our house, unfortunately, but I don't feel great. I'm still testing negative, but I'm staying away from everywhere else and getting anything we need delivered to the house as much as we can. So we don't want anybody getting it from us, that's for sure. So not just feeling 100% myself today, but jobs have to be done, so we're just gonna plough into it and get this one cracked out of the way first. That's a good look right there. If I'm shouting, I've got earmuffs on. But we're going to wash the chute now. We're at it. Nicole's scraping down there as it is, because this is where we've done all our cattle clipping and dosing and stuff, and the chute is all, it's filthy. So it's no harm when we have the power washer already set up. We just wash this down in a few minutes. That way, the most of the dirty work is done. We still have cattle to dose and all that, but get rid of all that out algae and stuff. It's very slippy as well, and it just leaves it ready for the next job. Just to kind of show you what we're taking off here, we're not actually washing off, it's not really the muck, it's this stuff. That's our algae or algae, whatever you want to call it. And that there, you'd lose your foot on that very easy. That's like a bottle when it's damp. So removing that leaves it much safer, because you would fall very easy on that. And when I have this all clean, I'll get a watering can and some hypochlorite and just go back and forth across it and leave it at that, and that will treat it, and hopefully the algae will not go back then for a good while. Right, well, it was way too misty to actually film that. You'd see nothing. But we have it all cleaned. The girls out there in the yard barring away some stuff as well, so we're all working together. That's all the lime and stuff that was still left over the summertime, all cleaned up now. What I'll do is I'll come along then with disinfectant, probably on Monday. Let it settle for a while. This is Saturday now, so let it settle for a while, let dry out sort of, and then we'll come along, we'll cover the whole place, and just an ordinary farm disinfectant, that's all it does. I find that works well. We don't have any scours. The only scours we ever get in our farm is just from feeding too much milk. We haven't had a virus in yet, fingers crossed we don't. Touch wood if we can find, there's not much wood in this house. I always find a scour usually comes into your farm. I remember one farmer came here to buy calves back a couple of years ago, because all of our Friesian bull calves get sold. A few farmers we have for the past 15-20 years who buys all our bull calves and raises them on their farm. But this one particular guy came, he was looking at the calves. He's a nice fella, he just wasn't thinking. And he was standing up there looking at one of our calves in that pen beside another calf and chatting away, and next thing he told me he had a virus in the house and he was losing calves left, right and centre. Well, I looked at him like you probably would, and I said, well, that's lovely. And him standing right up in the middle of the whole calves. They have to be so careful when someone comes onto your farm. So now when people come, they dip their feet, but I still don't let them in here. I don't let anybody in here, only ourselves. So it's not carrying stuff. It's so easy, just a wee fragment on a pair of Wellington boots. No one means to do it, but that's how it gets in and that's how it gets started. And when you get it, It is a pain to get rid of. So, little tip for you, don't let too many in around your calves. Just be really, really careful. So that's that job done. We also, in here is all cleaned out as well. It was cleaned, but we'll just give it a run over again. The chute, we're after doing a lot of work on it this last while. 4 times the cattle have been up with tests. If you watch the channel, you'll understand why that was. And we've done all the clipping, all the dose, and that's all done now. So it was also covered in old algae. The algae is very, very slippy, and it needs a good clean. So now it's all freshened up. Just a quick rinse over. It only took 15-20 minutes, and now the chute is ready for the next job. It all helps. Come to use it again, it's more of a pleasure to use. Okay, so we're on to the next job. Do you remember we put these young calves in? So I said after we put them in, we'd leave them for about 2 weeks. Then we come back when the climatise a little bit inside, and we clip them. Clip their backs, heads, tails, and probably a little bit down the backs of their legs as well, just to clean them up and keep them nice and cool in the house. This house here, although it's opened, there's no real draft ever gets into it because it's facing the east over there. I've never seen rain ever go into this house so far, and it's built now. You guys know, how long is it built? This is the 3rd winter we've had, I think. Isn't it, Nicole, 3rd winter? I think this is the 3rd. Yeah, this is the 3rd winter we're doing in this house. We've never seen any rain or anything ever get into this house, or ever get even near where the silage is. So, and that's why we face it this direction. It's also lucky it worked out with the laneway and all, facing this way. Everything came together nicely. Anyway, that's what we're going to do. Nicole's just after setting up some of the stuff here. So that's the dose we're going to use today, closamectin. So normally the doses I use, a lot of people do ask what I use. We use tramadol 10% on our cows and our heifers that are close to calving, because simple reason for that is you have to be really careful of what doses and what treatments you use. We dose them about 8 weeks, just as they've been dried basically. We dry them off, the following day they're into the chute, clipped and dosed. That's kind of the way we do it. So tramadol was handy for us because it was safe to use. We have changed it. We got another dose. I can't remember the name of it, but haven't even got it in my hand yet. Just our co-op ordered it in for us because we wanted to change. That's one thing that's important. Change your dose or whatever treatment you're using after a few years, because there's the worm or fluke or whatever you're treating, they will build up a resistance to it. So it's always worthwhile every now and again changing your dose, just chopping and changing so that resistance doesn't build up. So that's the reason we're using something different today. Normally with our calves when they're outside, we don't really do them for fluke that often. When they're young, we'd use Panicure. Have you ever heard? It's just a worm dose, and then we treat them for fluke. When they get older and we get into the house, we give them a fluke jab. We use several different ones. This time we're just randomly picking this one. We changed it just simply for the facts I just told you about. This is different because I've never actually used a pour-on before on young stock for treating worms and fluke. I'm told it's fairly good by other farmers that live beside me, so it'll definitely be easier for me to do as well. So that's what we're going to do. I'm going to put them into the chute here now. I forgot to bring my overalls, my hat, to keep their hair off me. It can be itchy, dirty old stuff. And there's a nice wee breeze blowing, which doesn't help. You'll see that on the camera. But anyway, let's get at it. So I just have to clean down the house. I clean the house every morning, just rub down the cubicles. It can be a little bit dirty for the first couple of weeks to go in because the manure starts to solid up, it starts to dry up after the wind, because when they first go in, the grass, they still have the effect of the wet grass, and that leaves them that they're kind of, you understand what I mean, it kind of comes out a little bit quicker. But as they're in, especially now when they're clipped, they will clean up an awful lot in the next few weeks. They've done quite well. I think last year's calves might have been a bit better. My father says no, he thinks these are better. There's a range of different ages here, so there's a couple of them are a little bit smaller than others, especially that one there that's walking over. You see they're coming towards us now. This one here, a little bit smaller, and the only reason them two are smaller is they were born in April. We have 3 animals here that were born in April, the rest were January and February. And it's true what they say, nothing beats a January calf for strength and everything. A little tip, what I tend to do with them is when they go into the house, you'll always notice that they'll get bullied, especially when you're feeding in front of a barrier, get bullied away from meal, and they're a lot slower to eat meal as well. So I stand with them each morning. It only takes me about 15 minutes just to stand a little bit longer. You're right there. Go. To make sure they get the right amount of meal into them. Another thing I could do if I needed to would be put the gate back up again and put them 3 or even them 4 smallest ones, just divide them up, just to make sure they're getting enough meal, not getting bullied away from it. Little things like that always helps, and helps to even them out over time. Bo, of course, is a monster. Yeah, she's a monster. Anyway, let's get you girls into the crush. So you might ask, why am I wearing a mask? Well, it's not to do with COVID. It's actually to keep the hairs out of my mouth. And Nicole's laughing here. I'm just going to fix her mask on her. There they go there now. That's it there. It's perfect. No, she's my camera lady today. We want to keep the old hairs at our arm out as well. Although she's in a fit of giggles here. When Nicole gets in the giggles, she can't stop. Oh, put the trousers first. Just reading it now to see exactly how much we put on them. Do you bring a knife?
No.
Oh yeah, ready to rock. Alright, let's go. Number one. See that?
They ran away.
Jeez, my lines is brutal. Here we are. Well, that's our first one done. All that old hair you see. I even noticed that the cows at home, they've already started to shine up. You'll see that probably in a video or two of mine now. When we start calving the cows, you get a better look at them. And you'll see the way their coat all starts to shine up. And in 2 weeks, you'll always see an improvement. So I'm expecting to see a good improvement in these. It'll get rid of a lot of air litching and other stuff that might be on the back, or dry skin and things. Definitely worth doing. Alright, so we're getting on well through them. What are we, Nicole? How many have you done? 1, 2, 3, we're about 7 or 8 done. Anyway, guess who's next in the barber's chair? It's Bo. And I just thought, you know what, it might be actually cool, because Nicole has asked me a few times, can she give it a go? And no better client than Bo. Bo can be rough now, there's no doubt about it, so I'm going to keep it a watchful eye on her. Because at the end of the day, Bo is Nicole's calf, so I think it's only right that she should do the first cut on Bo. So we'll let her at it. Pull it forward. There you go, give it a good old rip. There you go. Hold on a second, I go in here beside you. Let Bo put her head in. We'll just pull it over nice and easy. You can see Bo is quite obligent. So I'll get the clippers now oiled up for you, and you can do the run. I'll fill them for a change. So you're going to cut to about there on both sides, alright? Don't have to be perfect. Take your time, and you'll learn as you go along. There you are. Super. Very good. Your lines is worse than mine. What kind of lines is them? Unfortunately, Bo, you wouldn't want to be going to the nightclub tonight, because that's a tough looking do. Alright, you're doing well. Yeah. You can go as far as here as well, at the back of the tail. Very good. Yeah. I'd go a big, long kind of a one run, yeah. That's it. Brilliant, yeah. Any way you want. I know the tail is awkward. No, turn your clip around. Yeah, that's it. Just so it doesn't dig in. In fairness, for our first run of the clippers, she didn't do too bad. Actually, do you know what? I think that could start a new trend. Yeah, I think there's a new trend in there somewhere. Bo doesn't care one bit. Bo and Nicole have a nice bond from Bo was born, basically. And you can always see it when she goes out into the yard. She comes running for her. You always have to be careful with cattle, obviously, but it's nice to see. It's nice to see the generation taking a love for it like that. And all of our girls, they all have an individual. Like over there, for instance, the white calf. You know her. Snowball. Snowball is Sophia's calf. And then there's another one in the house there, if we can find it. What's his name? Spoon. There's another one. I can't remember the names. There's another one house, yeah, Spoon. And that is Elena's calf. They're them all named. I can't for the life of me remember the names, but they have them all named. But that's where it starts. That's where the love for the whole thing starts. Jesus, stop moving. That's it. Hello.
Daddy, you left the gate open.
Oh God. Right, so there's Bo with her nice haircut. Courtesy of Nicole. Bo will look a lot better for it and feel a lot better for it. Now Nicole just mentioned me there, she might start doing haircuts, lockdown haircuts. I know a lot of people ask about them. So she was thinking there kind of a price, €3 for a shave, €8 for a haircut. And no, shaving your head doesn't qualify you for the €3 package.
I got more.
Now you see that's the calving woman coming out in her. €8 she says, far more. Probably walk again. That's it. That's the last of them done. Cole's going to let her in now with the rest of them. Come on, come on. Go on, go on, go on. There we go. There's a lot of hair on them. Anybody wants a couple of pillows filled, don't be afraid to ask. Good quality stuff right there. Anyway, that's them now. They look so much better. Be interesting to see how that stuff would work. So there's the wee calf there. That's the smallest calf in the bunch. It's just small because that calf was born actually in mid-April. No problem. Plenty of flesh on it. Thriving away. Good calf. But what I will do probably tomorrow. Nicole's just cleaning up here as I'm talking. She's mad to get home for the spuds. But if you have young calves like that, calves are a lot younger than others. I can put up this gate here, and I might do that tomorrow and put maybe 2, 3 of them, 4 of them maybe that are a bit smaller into this pen, silage for them, and just give them a little bit more time to eat their meal. For now what I do is I make sure I stand with them 10 minutes. They'll have all the meal out, just to ensure that they're getting enough and they're not being bullied away from it. Anyway, that's another job knocked off the list now before Christmas. I like to get as much done now and finished, all these kind of jobs finished now for Christmas. They should thrive now, hopefully, fingers crossed. So if you like the shenanigans we get up to, don't forget, hit that sub button, give us a like. You can follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and on TikTok. Until the next one.
Talk to you again.